treats. I am native nutrition for body and soul. I am Caribbean spirit. I am welcome and farewell to manifestation. I am carnival and communion, fete and fasting. I am the mad monarch and the saintly icon, political mamagai and community commerce. I am fact and I am gossip. I'm the resistor of oppression and a celebrant of endless freedom, internally and externally. I am all that and much more than you can see. I am Caribbean spirit, embracing all possibilities, maintaining the ability to look beyond the transgressions while enjoying the freedom of my own unity with self. Whether we are all conscious or not, I know that I am you, and you are who I am, immersed in one cosmic love dance, here to welcome each other with open arms. No, there can be no me without you. All humanity is only one family, fashioned from the same template of the eternal, which we choose to describe by many, many names. And with all of that, let me tell you, welcome, welcome. You hear me now? Welcome.
All right, keep it coming for Hollis, Flash, Lastly. My name is Mark Purrier. I work with the Center for Folklife and Cultural Heritage. I want to welcome you to the 2017 Smithsonian Folklife Festival. This is our 50th year, and you're about to hear and see some really nice music and dance. I'm going to turn this over to Kay Shepard in a few minutes, who's just setting up her pan here, and she will take over. In the meantime, I'd like to cover some information about the festival. If you're just getting here and you haven't been here before, we have food concessions throughout the grounds if you get hungry. We also have refreshment stands throughout the grounds if you get hungry. Over in the Arts and Industries building, which is next to this castle, directly behind you, there is a festival marketplace, as well as there's a stage inside where you can also see performances and programming. As many of you know, to my left, to your right, is the circus program, Circus Arts, and that program will be going on Life on the Move throughout the festival. The Smithsonian Folklife Festival is produced by the Center for Folklife and Cultural Heritage, co-sponsored by the National Park Service. If you like to do social media, as many of us do, we have a hashtag, hashtag 2007 Folklife. And if you'd like to send up your videos or photos, that's a great place to post. Post with that hashtag so everyone can see it. So without further ado, I'd like you to welcome Kay Shepard.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. As you heard, I am Caribbean by Mr. Hollis/Lashley. I am also Caribbean. My name is Candea Shepard. I was born in the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Okay, we have some Trinidadians in the house. I was actually born in Tobago, the misnomer. So I was born in Scarborough, Tobago, a smaller island where people go to relax and go to the beach. Even the people from Trinidad come to Tobago to do that. So I'm a little bit of my story. Because I was born there, I came here when I was 9 years old. 9 years old. So I am both Caribbean and American, even though I don't want to claim it. I've lived here longer than I've lived in Trinidad and Tobago. My mom is to the left. She was also born in Trinidad. And I am a migrant to the United States. So I started going to school here when I was 9 years old. I was about in 5th grade. And most of my experience that I'm going to talk about through music and just living in the United States has been through a lens of a Caribbean child that grew up in the United States. So, but let's first talk about the Caribbean and what a melting pot, because they say America is a melting pot. The Caribbean is really a melting pot. It's like jambalaya. We have a thing called pilau, where we mix up a whole bunch of, African, the chicken and the rice and the peas, and we have a lot of influences from Europe. So let's talk about where all of these peoples in the Caribbean come from to make this a good melting pot. So we start off with the Native Americans. So in Trinidad and Tobago specifically, because that's where I'm from, we have Caribs, Native Caribs, and Arawaks, Indians. Also, they had European settlers that came over. We had the Spanish came, and the name Trinidad came from the Spaniards. Christopher Columbus came over, Nina Pinta and Santa Maria. Everybody knows the story, right? Nina Pinta and Santa Maria came over, and they saw these three hills in Trinidad. And they called it La Trinidad because they thought of the Trinity, which is the cross in the Catholic religion. So that's the name, that's where Trinidad's name comes from. After the Spanish settled and colonized, the Dutch and the French and the English came over and colonized as well. With those people came a bunch of African slaves that they brought to work the plantations. Down in the Caribbean, there's a vast array of sugarcane and all these things they needed to plant and they needed to grow these crops. And so they brought a lot of African slaves over. And when slavery was abolished over in Europe, they also, quote unquote, let's put quotations around it, quote unquote, abolished slavery in the West Indies. So what did they have to do? They had to import some more indentured servants. Those indentured servants were Indians from over in India. We're over in Asia. So we have Indians now, we have Native Americans, we have Africans. But also with those people came some Asians, some Chinese people, and some Middle Eastern people, Syrians and Lebanese people who were good at textile and merchandising. And so in the Caribbean there's this whole melting pot of all of these different cultures that come together, which in that essence creates fusion. This is what this segment is about. Tropical fusion. What's going on down in the Caribbean, right? So let's talk about the sounds that come with that. The sounds of the Caribbean are the folk musics of the Africans and the Native Americans. So we have the jigs and the ballets and different things that develop in Tobago because that's where the Africans held their foot the most. We also have Africans, as you know, over in Jamaica and Haiti, and so there's some folk musics dwelling down there. And so from Trinidad and Tobago we developed Kaiso and Calypso and Soca, which is the mix of the African, specifically the majority, the African and the Indian populations that are in there. And then we also introduced some of the French folk music because the French that were there and the Spanish that were there and the English and the Dutch bring their own folk music. And where all of these slaves and these people were hearing all these things together, they wanted to participate in all of the celebrations. So some of those sounds end up coming into our music as well. And that created a whole new sound. And from those things we get Calypso and Kaiso and Soca and Chutney and Paran, which is our Christmas music in Trinidad, which specifically comes from the Spanish. We use guitars and different things for that. In Jamaica, you hear the ska and the reggae and the dance hall, which everybody tries to lump all into one thing. All of those names that I just called, they try to call it all reggae, but it's all different because it has a different underpinning, a different beat underneath. In Haiti, we have Zouk and Compa, which some people heard if they were here earlier, you have a little bit, you'll hear a little bit later. And in the Spanish-speaking Caribbean, you have bachata, merengue, salsa, and all of these things come together to create the fusion of what is the West Indies, the Caribbean. Then you have this thing right here. Does anybody know what this is called? So I heard some of it out there. So its name is the steel pan or the steel drum. The steel pan was created, so they say in Trinidad and Tobago, I'm going to claim it. Trinidad and Tobago. This is the result of the African slaves their drums being taken away. So they had to find something else to play. What did they find? They they cut down some bamboo trees and started playing that. And then the government said, that's outlawed too. We don't want you to use that either. So what else is there around? In about the 1930s, 1920s, and 30s, you know the U.S. was fighting a war, right? One of their bases was in Trinidad and Tobago. So what did they do? They had to fill their battleships with oil. Where did they throw the oil drums when they were done with them? In Trinidad and Tobago. What did our people ingeniously do with those oil drums? Create an instrument. Because they needed something else to play. So they became scientists and they manufactured this new instrument because they needed to express themselves, right? So the steel pan was invented. It's still very young, but some people would say it's old because now it's like 50 years old. They say it's old. Me, I still think it's a young instrument because a lot of people still don't know what this thing is, right? So the steel pan has all of the sounds that they heard around them. So the European people came over with guitars and violins and brass instruments and all of these things. So we want to play some melodic music too, because in Africa we had our melodic instruments. So how do we do this? They heated the instrument, they heated the oil drum, and they took a hammer to it until they got what it was they wanted to hear. It's a whole long process. That's a whole nother story for another day. We could spend a whole day on steel pan alone. But now it has become one of the instruments where it has been fused into everything in America. There's about 600 bands in North America. I wouldn't say the United States, in North America, specifically in the education world and also in community. And we use this as a tool to teach about A, our culture in the Caribbean, and B, to teach kids music, because it's the easiest thing that they can play. They don't need a lot to play this instrument. All you need is your hand and your ears and the instrument in front of you. And you make music. That's it. So anybody from the age of 4 and up can play. It's very easy, right? So, but this is a medium by which I tell a story. So some of the music I explained, calypso was one of our musics before. A lot of music that you hear associated with this instrument is calypso. Most people associate this with traveling to the islands on cruise ships. They would come off. In fact, that was one of the tourism things that happened around this instrument. They would greet the cruise ships as they came to the island with this music and playing out calypsos, traditional calypsos. People may have heard Yellowbird and Deo and these things. But did you know that calypso is an influenced by the jazz music that was heard in the United States? It was happening over in the 1920s, early 1800s, 1920s coming down, and also the music that was going on in Europe, because there were big band sounds, orchestral sounds, and also this influence of jazz. And in the 1950s and so, as you take the lens of America and the types of music that are happening in America, they're also being pulled into calypso. So I want to introduce this song that I'm going to play. It has an element of disco, jazz, listen for the horns, and it kind of has a funky groove, so it's like some soul and R&B going on. This song is by the Lord Kitchener. Listen to the word Lord. Kitchener comes from Lord, influence from England, of course. But Lord Kitchener is one of our great calypsonians that wrote music not for this instrument, but it is played by this instrument often. That's a fusion between the two things.